on marketing, and we focus on SEO and paid advertising to help businesses generate qualified leads.
Cool. Jocko.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jaco Grobler. I'm a founding partner of Broad Vision Marketing, and we specialize in inbound marketing. So lead generation, that's the game we play.
Very cool. Gilbert.
Hey everyone, Gilbert Abraham here from AGM, and we specialize on LinkedIn marketing and LinkedIn advertising.
Very cool. And Chris?
Hey everyone, Chris Vagalio here from Rocket Growth Agency. I am actually a personal branding coach and consultant, but also a former video production agency owner of 20 years. So I've just recently transitioned into this new role. So I'm looking forward to speaking with everybody today.
That's awesome. And Justin.
Yeah, I'm Justin McAleese, co-owner of video production company Blair Media, and work behind the scenes at Shoot Style Video and host these things occasionally.
Very cool. So for everyone who's tuning in, as we cover each topic today, if you have questions, you don't have to save them till the end. Go ahead and type them into the chat box, and we will be answering them as we go along. And fun side note, we do have a $50 B&H gift card to give away today, so you're going to want to stick around for that. Woohoo! All right. So why don't we get started with the topic website design and development? So whoever wants to kind of take the floor can go ahead and just talk to us about what you know about it, tips and tricks, and yes, give us your brilliant knowledge on website design and development. And again, for anyone watching, any questions you have about it, feel free to just type them in the chat box. But don't all start at once.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Don. You go first. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're more the web guy than I am.
So when you're thinking about your website, you want to make sure that you are making sure that you're answering questions and showing the problems you solve for your customers. Show how you do that. Talk about the things that go into that. It doesn't have to be a super sales pitch all the time. You should be able to show how you solve those problems for people who might be wanting to use your services. That's really kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, who needs a website? Like who needs a website, and why do you need a website?
Well, I think any business needs a website because these days it's expected. So you can go with something simple like a Squarespace or a Wix, or you can get a step up from that and go with WordPress, which is a little bit more complicated, but not really. It's almost as easy to use as those other two services, and they both work. They work really well with Google in terms of getting visibility in the search engines.
What would you say is like the most important thing to like that you first see when you go on somebody's website that you're a business? So like, what do you want to see first? What's most important?
Well, you want it to be targeted to your ideal prospects. So think about everybody who could use your services and who are the ideal people and who are the not so ideal people. Focus on the ideal ones. Try to identify what makes them a little bit different than everybody else who could use your services, and focus on their needs and their questions. And that's going to help you in a lot of ways, just with search visibility and also with interaction of the site.
I think that's critical, is that, people reach you or they'll get to a page because they ask a specific question. They search a specific issue they have. So if they get to that page, you have to answer that question. So it's that relatedness that will keep them on the page as well. Otherwise, they bounce off, and that's not good for your SEO again.
I mean, I would also say that before, a lot of people will say, hey, I need to get a website. I would say do some planning and strategy beforehand, so do some research on who's your customer, what's important to them. Because sometimes people will get websites set up, they talk about all the services, but it doesn't address that actual customer and their challenges like Don and Jacko mentioned. So do some research before you even create that site so that you really elaborate on how you can help that customer.
I think it's fair to say too that your business changes over time, and so your website should change over time to reflect how your business changes, obviously. But a lot of businesses start trying to do one thing and then realize that actually they can either make more money or they're better at a different thing. And so like focusing your website onto that particular problem-solving aspect of what you guys do best is very vital.
Yeah, and just to add one more very quick, simple thing is buy your domain name of your name if you can, because that seems to be a thing that I find a lot of people don't do. And when I talk to a lot of freelancers out there, people who are just doing their thing. They haven't even thought about buying their name as their domain name. And your name's not always going to be available, but get a little crafty then, come up with something that at least has your name in it, just so you can then begin to think about it from a personal branding side. So that's just like, sometimes it's just the simplest thing is a thing sometimes we all forget to do, including myself. When I first started, I didn't buy my name until like even just a few years ago. So it is a quick, like simple thing that you can do that will really help as you begin to plan and do your strategy.
In addition to that,
sorry, go on.
go ahead. Adding social media logos and connect to the social channels from your website. I noticed there is some website that they don't even have any social channels connected to it. So you're missing out on an opportunity where people can learn more about your brand, your business overall. So adding those LinkedIn logos and connect that to your LinkedIn company page or Instagram or Facebook and so forth.
Yeah. I want to go back to your original question, Sarah, as who needs a website? I think if there's one thing that we have learned now from COVID is that everybody goes online. Everybody is searching online. So, if people can't find you online, how do they do business with you? So, that's one of the things. Just before COVID, I think the average search volume was something like 5.5 billion searches per day. And that was just on Google. So you can imagine maybe where it is now today. So the question is not, whether people are searching. The question is whether they find you. And if they can't find you, they can't do business with you.
Yeah, it's a great point. As a producer in my former life, in video production, I was always absolutely shocked at the staggering amount of actors and voiceover artists and other talent like that did not have a website. And I got to tell you, as a producer, somebody who was doing casting, it would drive me absolutely insane that I couldn't just go to an actor's website if I really liked them and see pictures and see reels and things like that. So I that's something that I think, to your point, is you got to have a website.
Yeah. Another quick point with your website, give each of your services a separate presence on the site. So give them each a separate page. So if you're, shooting video, editing video, whatever those different services are, or it could be even industries. If you do, weddings and parties and corporate work, give a separate page for each of those, because again, when you go back to Google being found, those pages will have a chance to show up in the search results.
Really good point. Yeah.
So that's a good point, is having everything you do a separate tab or a separate page. What else can you do to make your website user friendly? Like having your contact info easy to find, using those links. What are some other things people can do that makes it easy for people when they arrive at your site?
Well, one of the things that I just actually did to my own website, because I love the feature on other people's websites, is just adding the widget where, somebody could just call up and ask for help, like right there, a little,
Drift. The Drift.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yes,
yeah.
I just started using Drift, and it's great because I actually have it connected to my phone. So if somebody on my site instantly wants to ask a question beyond the quick automated, hey, how I can help you, I instantly got that, and I can interact with somebody right away if they need a quick question or whatever, or answer to anything. So I think that that's a really key component, especially if you're in a very service-based industry where people want answers fast.
Yeah, and make it super easy for people to contact you. So make sure your phone number is very high profile. Make sure your email address, make sure you have a form on every page that will, a contact type form. I can't tell you how many, especially smaller businesses, are afraid to put their address on there because they're, don't have an office and they're working out of their house. Go ahead and use that address, use the phone number, make them easy for people to find. Don't bury them.
Yeah, make sure they work too. Make sure any form you put on your site actually works, because you don't want to be people filling out stuff and you never see the leads come in.
Right, exactly. Test your forms.
Yeah.
One last thing too, audit your own site. Go through periodically, make sure everything works, test all the links. People might not hit you up and tell you that they're not working, but they know and they realize it as they're working, and they're like, yeah, this site doesn't even work anymore.
Great point.
And that can catch any of us at any time because stuff just breaks,
You can also ask a friend to try and do some things on your site and watch them actually do it. Sit with them, bring your laptop and say, hey, could you look at this and see what would you do if you wanted to contact me? How would you do it? And watch how they go through the site. you get it's a small user group, but it's a user group of somebody who may not be as familiar with the site as you, and you could see that, oh, it's not as easy as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's a
other thing
great
is,
point.
Great idea.
the other thing is to tell them what you want them to do. You know, a great user experience, but if you don't tell them what to do, they may just leave your site. So have call to actions on the site. Tell them exactly what you want them to do next. And so that way it's like you steering the conversation. It's the same principle.
Yeah, we see clients who are doing blogging, which is great because it makes you more visible in search. But then on those blog pages, there's no way, nothing to download, no forum, nothing, no way to interact. So you want to go ahead and have that call to action, like Jocko said, on every page.
Yeah.
Those are all really great points. And I'm also putting all that in the back of my mind too.
Yeah,
let's
I
talk-
also. Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead. No,
I was
please,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
say one more quick thing on the of things that would make it easy for people to interact with you is also to use a calendar service like Calendly or something like that, and have that link very active on almost every page. Much like everybody was saying about a call to action, which is very easy to do, which is, hey, book some time with me right away. And you can link it to, whether you want to do 15-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute, 45-minute blocks with people. And that just allows a user to right away book time with you. And that's an all automated process that's very easy to set up. And so that's just another way of making sure that, you can connect with somebody and that you have an opportunity with them. So that's another really simple call to action to do.
Calendly definitely reduces friction. If you want to set up something, you're like, okay, well, we got to figure out what time works for both of us. And I don't know if I'm free here, but it's a one-way conversation at that point in a good sort of way. And so it's like, done. I got to figure it out. We're going to do it in 2 weeks. Great.
And it's free to start. So
it is. Best part is, it's free to start.
No, that's perfect. So let's move on to email newsletters.
Oh my goodness.
It's so much we could
do. They work?
Yes,
do they
do?
Yeah.
They do work. They work.
Do people
awesomely.
want them? What are
Yes.
some great services to use for email newsletters? So go for it.
I'm a HubSpot business partner, but HubSpot is a big system, and we use it more for marketing automation. But I think you have constant contact. I'm not sure if Aweber still exists.
Yep.
And what are I don't even know what's all the services that's available.
I use MailChimp.
MailChimp is another popular one.
I use Kartra.
Okay.
That's
I think one of the important things with email for me is that you've got to realize that you always have to be building your email list. It's something that you can never stop. For me, it's one of the most valuable marketing instruments that's available there. Usually I'm not talking about buying lists. I'm talking about people who's opt-in or people that you've done business with.
Right.
They know you. And if you can, email gives you the opportunity to share information with them on a regular basis that educate them and that engage them. So, it increases your brand, it increases their awareness of you.
Yeah. And don't just slap your email newsletter together. You got to create valuable content. Again, go back to your ideal prospect.
Yeah.
What are the types of questions? One way to get a great content strategy is to just make a list of all the questions you get asked by either a prospect or somebody who's just about to sign with you, or even a customer. Each of those questions are great ideas for content. So you could do blog posts and then put them in your email newsletter. And when your newsletter has value to your reader, they look forward to getting it and they're going to click through. We use this with, especially with B2B, and have great success in driving a lot of traffic back to the website where we can then get them to interact with us and get further along in that buyer's journey.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And then just to Jocko's point, the one thing, and to talk about Calendly real quick, is that I've actually integrated Calendly now, that when people set up appointments with me, they get added to my MailChimp mailing list.
Nice.
Which then I'm always building my list. And for that, and if they don't want to be on the email list, that's fine. They'll just unsubscribe. It's, it's there. The feature's there. It's very easy. MailChimp makes it easy, but it is a way to constantly be building your list. And, those are people that wanted to connect with you in the first place. So it's not so cold. So that's just another little integration from what we were just talking about previously that can help build your list.
I think it's also structuring your newsletter, right? Because the people will do it 2 or 3 times and then they stop and then randomly do it again 2 or 3 times later that year. Make it either something that's weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, so that the readers can look forward to that content. There's some type of predictability going around it. That's really important.
And look at which content they're interacting with, which subject lines are making them open. You may see themes happening over and over again. Every time I mention this subject, lighting, for example, wow, it gets 30% opens instead of 15% opens.
Yeah.
So those types of things can help you not only make decisions about the newsletter, but also the other content on your website.
One thing to be careful of when people start with email, they think, oh, it's easy. You know, I'm going to do one every week, and then they get busy. As what you just said, make sure you can do it consistently.
Yeah.
Because
it is a lot of work.
Consistently is like, okay, what happened to them? Are they out of business?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, because once you get people onto a routine, when it disappears, that's when they really notice.
Yeah.
And
and what you said, Don, is don't give them information where you're selling to them. Be careful.
Don't sell.
When you sell to me, I unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Give me information that educate me about, what do I want to know about? So if you know what they want to learn, that's what you give them.
And if you have trouble creating the content, writing the blog post that you would put in the newsletter, you can also curate stuff. So have one post that you're from your website, and then 3 or 4 from other reputable sources that people will find that valuable as well, and will love to get that information on a regular basis.
And you could use that content in several different ways, because you while you're using it for your newsletter, some of this content can be benefit on social media to help you build out your list as well. Mm-hmm. So think about those content that people actually open and read from your newsletter, how else you could use it to benefit your marketing.
Yeah, I oftentimes newsletters that I purposely subscribe to, I save them, and those to me, I use them for influence and to come up with ideas for my own newsletter, and that's a great thing to do. Is if you are already on somebody's newsletter, I'm not saying copy them 100%, but take a look at it. Why do you like this? Right. And you can integrate a lot of that influence into your own, and it's fine. It's a newsletter. I mean, it's, there's only so many different ways you could do it, and everybody's doing the same thing, but just make it relate to you and your audience, and it's totally fine. If you're looking for inspiration, and a lot of these like MailChimp and the different ones, they do have great templates that are there, and you can customize them and save them and reuse them, and you can begin to create different ones as you go along and become more comfortable with these applications. But they do make it pretty easy, and if you ever get stuck, there's a lot of how-to videos out there and things like that you can instantly Google and look up on YouTube that'll show you how to do it in like 60 seconds.
Another thing you can do too is if you do get a newsletter that really hits, I think is see if you can riff off of that right away, and don't send it right away, but save that for 3 months or 6 months down the line. That way, that it did work at once. It's still fresh in your mind once you do the research and all that stuff. You might hit new people, or you might, the same people that are already on your news list might want to hear it again because it's a good reminder, and you can build off of it and sort of go to step 2. I think that can be really useful. That way you have something banked, hopefully, and also you're already building on something that already works.
Yeah, great idea.
I like that.
Maybe something to follow up what Don said is that after you send the email, go and do the analysis. I mean, you sent the email for a specific reason, so don't just send it and forget it. Go into the analysis, look at how many people opened it, how many people click through, what links did they click on. That gives you an indication of what people like to see. And then if the people that click through, what is your sequence to follow up with them? Now, when somebody has clicked through, that's become sort of like a lead. It's a prospect. What is your process to follow up and connect with them?
The other thing you can do with a newsletter is you can send it out, give it 3 or 4 days, and then take all the people who didn't open that and do it again, but with a different subject line, and send it again. And we've done this with some pretty large publishing businesses, and it works really well for them in terms of you're going to get an extra 20 to 30% opens on top of what you got the first time.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that is great.
Recycling it.
Just a little bit of work by changing that subject line, but send the same exact thing 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah, well, they didn't open it the first time, so it's brand new to them.
Right, exactly. So you're just trying to get those opens are all about the subject line. So if that subject line nails it for somebody, they're going to open it. And that's why it's important to test those on an ongoing basis as well.
There's someone back there waiting like it was a Christmas present, waiting until Sunday to open it, and then you go and send another one.
I'd like to meet that person
Yeah,
who
yeah,
waits to
right.
open their email.
Who are you?
What is wrong with you?
Let's talk a little bit about social media.
Oh, I love that
A
topic.
very, very
Well,
broad subject.
Yeah, we could be on this for hours. I hope you're
Yeah.
strap in, everybody.
I mean, there are so many social media platforms, and you know, they can be used for so many different ways. So, which do you think are the most important and the best ways to use them? And again, go for it.
Well,
I
I'll
think
just
they're-
start real quick, but I'm going to throw it to Gilbert because I'm going to say it. I'm going to throw it right to this guy. But I'm
I'll
telling
catch
you
it.
right now. Yeah, exactly. If you're in business and you don't have a LinkedIn page, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. And if you have a LinkedIn page and you haven't updated it in like forever, you're also doing yourself a big disservice. Now I'm going to throw it to Gilbert.
All right. So there's over 700 million people on LinkedIn, and they're all business professionals. So think about when someone is looking for you and they Google your name, one of the first things that will pop up on that first or second page is your LinkedIn profile. So if it's not updated, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity because that's that first impression. So from updating, we're talking about your headshot got to be correct. You can't have, a picture that you crapped out with someone else and you had a bottle of beer in there. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Don't do
The
that.
barbecue.
Right? A banner image in the back of your profile to really stand out. Maybe something about your brand, your logo, company name, slogan, and so forth. Your about section, don't make that about you. Make it about your potential clients. It shouldn't be about,
Right.
I have 100 years of experience, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
No one cares. Talk about, the problem that you solve. Share some of those case studies. A new feature section they just added called featured, where you can upload some of your work. So if you do video freelancing, upload some of those content up there so people can see the type of work that you do. Great way for you to stand out from the masses. We have the experience section. Make sure you create a company page that make your business look more legit. And that's really easy to do. So it's just click on the burger logo in the top right corner where it says work, and then go all the way down where it says create a company page. Click on that, fill it out, add your logo, and then connect it to your profile. That makes you even more legit and allow people to trust you faster. Then we have the recommendation section. Anybody you've worked with in the past, don't be scared to ask them for a recommendation and connect with your clients and potential clients. Use it as, if you are creative, LinkedIn should be one of your best tools to use because you could share so much content on there and really attract the right people to you. So that's just LinkedIn. We have Facebook.
That's
So
just
many
LinkedIn.
opportunity that
But I
you
think,
can take advantage of.
Gilbert, it's something that you said earlier. You got to think of it from a strategic point of view.
Yes.
Because it's, different horses, different courses. It's not just go and use all the social media. There are certain social media platforms that work better for certain businesses. And you've got to go and do that research and find out which social media platform complement what you do the best.
Definitely agree 100%. Also think about your clients, right? So if you are doing wedding videos, Instagram might be better for you.
Right.
Right. So that don't mean you shouldn't have a LinkedIn profile. You should still have the LinkedIn profile because you could connect with wedding planners and so forth. But Instagram might be where you share your work.
Yeah. And, people on LinkedIn get married.
True.
I did.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you want to cover the bases.
I think for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses or solopreneurs, social gets really challenging because you say, well, there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all these different platforms. My advice to people is always pick the one you're most comfortable with and just do it. And once you get rolling with it and you get into a rhythm and you're scheduling your posts and you're doing it on a regular basis, you're interacting with people, then you can expand out to whatever platform you're most comfortable with or second most comfortable with. So, you don't have to do them all at once. Pick one that, like Gilbert was saying, that fits well with your audience and start there.
I mean, you're trying to build a community and you've got to realize that that community needs to be engaged. So if you don't engage the community, they will disappear. So whatever you do, think of that right from the start as which platform you're going to use, how you're going to develop your content, and then how are you going to keep them engaged and how you're going to convert them.
I agree 100% in terms of the converting and the strategy, because let's go back to one of our prior conversation about building out your newsletter. Social media could be a great place where you could invite people to join your newsletter or community, so think about how all these different tools can work together: your website, your social media platforms, your newsletter, and everything else that you have in marketing. If you have the plan and strategy, like a lot of us keep saying over and over again, in place, then that make your job easier, because you know now, okay, I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn, and my goal when I post is to build a community of people that love my content. Then I can invite them to join my newsletter. Then they can get more information about what I do. Then that could lead me to do calls, and then go to my
Right.
website to see some of my work. So think about it that way.
Yeah, you gotta have a strategy. You have to have a plan. Don't wing it. You should, in anything to do with any of this stuff, content, social media, has to be planned out. If you don't plan it, it's gonna fizzle out, and you're gonna get no results. So plan it, execute it, and then evaluate the results. That's super important.
And
We do have a question. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you saw it too. I just saw it pop up.
We do have a question from Navi. Hi, Navi. What for website and social media, do you recommend to represent a company or brand, or as represent a company and brand, or as an individual, especially for a one-person company or service? For example, should I have a website in my name or in my business name? And same goes for the social media.
Well, I'll tell you from my perspective, because I am doing that. Have them both. Like, so have your name, but it can link right to your company website. I think that that's still important. So have your name, but link it over. I run 2 different social media accounts. I for my personal and for my business, but they are sort of one and the same, because it's very important to not only just establish your business as a brand, but it's also very important to establish your own personal brand as well, because that's the thing that people engage with a personal brand much more than they'll engage with just the company brand. So it's, if you really want total separation, then you can just have a personal account. But I would then have a public facing account then that would be in your name. But that's not to say you shouldn't also have just a company account too, because it also breeds a lot of SEO and it helps for search on all that.
Yeah. The other challenges, especially on Facebook and Instagram, they throttle business page visibility because they want you to pay for ads. So a lot of times you're going to get way more attraction with your personal page. Like, on Facebook, I've got over 1,000 friends personally. So we just launched a podcast and we're promoting it through that page as opposed to the podcast page, which has no visibility yet. So.
Yeah.
Maybe take a step back and think, where do you want to be in Navi in 3, 4, 5 years? Because that's the most important. The channel that you choose now is the channel that you've got to build over time, because you don't want to stay just where you are. You want to grow. And if you want to grow, what you want to be in 5 years may be totally different from where you are right now.
So thank you. Also, I saw a question about, do you need to be a paid member to add a banner image on your LinkedIn page? No. It's free. Anybody can do it.
You can actually do a lot of really great LinkedIn stuff with the free account, right? You don't have to pay for LinkedIn to have a lot of those LinkedIn benefits, right?
Yes, you could. Yeah, especially with the content side. So there's no reason for you not to start sharing and putting out content on LinkedIn. And you could do that every day. You could do LinkedIn stories. You could do LinkedIn videos. You could do LinkedIn posts. You could apply for LinkedIn Live and be able to do that on a consistent basis. You could create your own small show on LinkedIn and have it weekly or bi-weekly. I mean, Chris does it.
That's what I do.
So it's a great way to build your presence and combining your personal and company page brand. By having both, as Jack was said, in 5 years, you could have a very strong personal brand and then have a very strong company brand at the same time.
People, I think, like brands that work within themselves, so they want to talk about Gary Vee or someone, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't differentiate him from his brand, from what he does for his clients, from what he preaches, right? You think it's the same thing in a good sort of way, because you know what you're getting from him. You're not like, oh, well, go to his personal page and he talks about all this other crazy crap. Like, it's not that. It's like you get to know the person, you get to know what they're selling, and you want what they're selling because you know the person. And so I think those things can interact well, and they sort of need to in 2020 2021, because it's only going to get more tied. Obviously, like, you can't silo yourself, and you can't silo yourself or your brand. And what if your company, what if all that stuff, that industry changes? You need to be able to bring yourself to the next year and be able to, rebrand your company maybe, but you don't have to rebrand yourself.
Just humanize your brand.
Humanize your brand.
There you go.
That's great. So a term that has been thrown around a little bit already that is very important is SEO.
What's that stand for? What's that mean?
That's all
Service
done.
engine optimization, right? Service engine optimization?
Search engine
Search
optimization.
Search engine. I should know that. I should know. Search engine optimization. But I'm going to let you guys just speak on SEO and inform us all.
Okay, I'll give you the super short, easy, no technical blather about SEO. Focus on that ideal prospect, create that content for them, answer their questions, solve their problems. If you do that alone, your website will be way ahead of everybody else. The other thing I always tell people is always make data-driven content decisions. So don't pick your main keyword for an article based on your gut. Do the research, see how many people are searching for that keyword each month, how much competition there is for it. Look at what kind of content is out there for that keyword now, and can your content be better than that content? So without the numbers, you're just kind of guessing in the wind as to what's gonna work and not work. But when you focus on data to drive your content decisions, you can really, really grow your site dramatically because you'll have much more visibility in the search engines.
Absolutely.
It sounds like sort of what you're saying, Don, is that it's not necessarily about a lot of techie type stuff behind the scenes as much as it is about representing the right content to the right people in the right way.
Exactly.
And if you build that as a holistic approach, then you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, you don't need, it helps to have the techie stuff, but 90% of SEO is the text on the page and how does it answer the query that somebody has asked. So Google looks at every page on the internet and says, okay, this page should be number one for this question. And so your whole site has some effect as well, but they really are looking at individual website pages. That's why blogging works so well for search visibility, because you can narrow in on a specific topic. And if you do it really well, Google even rewards you with a thing called a featured snippet, which are some of the kind of the image things or boxes that you'll see at the top of Google sometimes. Those are extremely, extremely powerful. I'll give one example. We have a local architect here in New Jersey, and we were focusing on the term, how much does it cost to build a new house? And we were able to create content around that answered that really clearly. And Google gave us that featured snippet. And this customer went from 3,000 visitors a month to 10,000 visitors a month. And most of them were going to that article where we had a great call to action. So he got business out of it as well. There was a lot of wasted traffic because he just works here in New Jersey and he can't help somebody in California. But he dominated here as well. So it was really, really impactful.
Yeah, but when you have a page like that and a snippet like that, the benefit is that people come to your website, and so Google see that people visit you, and the more people that visit your website, the more people say, "Well, you must know what you're doing because people are coming to your page."
Yeah,
but
they do.
When you do this, before you start, first look at what people are searching. Look at the keywords or the search terms. Because if there are not enough search volume, you may want to rethink what you want to do. Right. So before anything, look at what are people searching, what is the search volume for every search term, and then on that, make an informed decision of how you want to tackle your search engine optimization.
Yeah, and you can check out your competitors. So we'll do audits for our clients where we take their website and their 3 closest competitors, and we'll see, well, what are these competitors ranking for? What are their top rankings in Google? What do those pages look like? And we do all that analysis and then take all that information and build our own strategy that will either beat them or, compete at least. So there's a lot of ways to go at it.
And the one benefit is Google changed their search algorithm almost daily. So because this algorithm changed, how they index content changes. So you always have an opportunity to get your content to go to the top. Make sure that you follow, make sure that you know what's those changes that take place, and build that in your content development. The other thing about content is it's not about that sprint. It's about the journey. It's like putting gas into your car tank. If you do a blog a month, that's it. You do a blog a month and you keep on doing it. If you do a blog a week, you do a blog a week, and the bots come to your website and they will index you.
Right.
But it's not about blogging 20 times and then think you're going to stay on top. No. You have to feed that monster every week.
Yeah, it's super important, and people kind of forget that part of it. There's no magic bullet. It's a lot of work. The technical side of it can get very hairy, especially like Jocko said, with all the changes. You could check your keyword rankings in the morning and then in the afternoon, and they will be different every time. So it's like a river. It's fluid. But if you're heading in the right direction over time, and going up and to the right, if I may go in the right way here, you're having success.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it Google Juice.
Yeah.
That river. Another concept to think of is when you work, it's not about being shallow and wide. It's about being narrow and deep. That's why they call it the long tail of the internet. So don't take 10 topics and write 2 blogs about it. Rather, they take 2 topics and write 10 blogs about it.
Right.
Because Google gives you what they call a domain authority. And, when you look at your domain authority, there's many factors that go into it. But a way to think of it very easily is to think of the quality and the quantity of content that you have on your website related to the topic that you represent.
Yeah, you definitely, they're definitely they want expertise and authority, especially in areas that are things that are, they call them your money or your life. So divorce is one of those areas or medical, where they don't want to see spam content with fake, stories about this will cure you from back pain or whatever. So there has to be some authority behind your content as well. So if you're going to write medical content, you better be a doctor, you better have experience in that field for a long time, and have some other writings around the internet on medical journals or other websites that would indicate your authority and expertise. That's very important for those areas.
Absolutely.
How do you write content if you think that stuff's already been covered? What's a good way to come up if you're sort of running out of things to write about, maybe?
Well, one of the things that I do is I actually try to I keep an ongoing, simple, Google Doc going. And I just will sit there and I'll just think about topics, things that, that my audience relates to, the things that I want to talk about my audience with, and the things that they're asking me about. And I'll just keep writing and writing and writing and writing until I'm done. And then I go back and look at it and start to zero in on the things that I want to create content with. And then, for me, when it comes to writing blogs, I'm not a good writer. I don't like it. It's not my thing, but I do understand that. And to what Don says, it has to be done. If it's such an important part of the SEO process to have blog content on your site if you want to be found. So what I do is I actually just record my blogs using the voice recorder on my phone, and I just literally talk the blog, and then I go and I use a transcription service like rev.com and just get it transcribed, and then I throw it in Google Docs and I edit it. And then I have a copywriter look at it. So, looks like I have a good command of the English language. But that's how I create blogs, and it works great. And it actually makes it much more efficient to keep content coming out. And I just work off that list.
Right.
It's very similar to what we do. Yeah, it's totally useful way to do it, is to just talk and then transcribe it. It's great.
And actually, rev.com just released an app too, where you can just talk into their app, and then it transcribes it, sends it right away. So they've automated the process a little bit better.
The other thing to remember, Justin, especially, is there's nothing new under the sun. So you just kind of have to pick that keyword or subject and put your own personal spin on it. Your expertise, your point of view, those are the types of things that people will find valuable, especially if you write from, in here. People get to know you a little bit, and that's unique. So nobody else is going to be you. I think that goes a long way, even though there's no new subjects really.
Yeah.
Establishes your personal brand.
For sure.
I think, Justin, the other point is that Google make their money through search. by delivering the best search results. That's why people go use Google. So when you think of the topic, go sit back and think about the topic and think, what are the different aspects of the topic? And then when you address it, you address the whole topic. And that's why Google will display your content and not somebody else's content, because you're answering the question, or you're talking about the topic more holistically.
Yeah. Or it could be something as simple as looking what's showing up on the first page for Google for that subject. And if it's like, okay, the top one is 12 reasons to A, B, and C, do 20, that right away. You're a little bit better. The content will be newer and you have a chance for showing up there as well.
Also, I use a tool called AlsoAsk.com, where I'll put a topic name and then they'll pull up a bunch of questions that people ask on the internet. And then I'll just modify that and write content around it and publish my article through that. So that's been very helpful. And also I use a tool called keywordtool.io to kind of do some searches to see what are some of the most popular searches in terms of keywords that's coming up. So those has helped a lot.
Nice. From a technical standpoint, what's the low hanging fruit you guys would say to fix a website that maybe was just thrown together by someone who didn't understand SEO at all? What's easy to change that would help?
I think the most important thing is to look at the title tag of the page, because that's what Google used to index the page. Okay. So if the page content is about video production, then the title tag should say video production, so Google can make that connection between what's on the page and what the page is about. Think of walking into a library with a book that you've written. You don't just take that book and you put it in any shelf or something like that. You go and they index it, and that's what Google do. That's how they index your page. So you've got to make sure that you do your title tag, I think, correctly. That for me is always the most important thing.
Nice.
The other thing that's very helpful is think logically. So keep in mind that everybody at Google are engineers, so they like structure. Okay, so your homepage is up at the top. It's very broad in general, has a lot of different subjects on it. As you get deeper into your site, get more specific and give more detail. That alone will help your site. But you really have to really kind of think like an engineer while you're creating your content strategies.
We don't want an old school GeoCities site where the only thing worth reading is eight pages deep.
The flashing numbers rotating, right?
Yeah, the counter.
Yeah, the counter.
That's awesome.
Good. That's great. I love to think about it like that. Like Jaco was saying, that's a really good perspective. Cool.
Yeah, it's strange. Nobody has mentioned link building yet.
Yeah. Get into that a little bit. What is that?
Well, it's having links from your other sites to your site. And according to Google's terms of service, you're not supposed to try to build links to improve rank. People still do it. Google's getting better at getting those links devalued. So the best way to do it is create good content. And when you create good content, people will share it. And like, for example, we did an article about UTMs, which are snippets of code you could add to the end of a URL to track it better. And that article got shared by the Google Analytics Twitter account. Well, the traffic went through the roof. We got 10, 15 links, really good links from it. And that really helped. Right. So you can rank content without links. You can't rank links without content. So if there's nothing on the page that answers the question really well, it doesn't matter how many links you have. So gotcha. A lot of people chase links, and I don't think it's a great strategy, because it's very hard to get good, valuable links. The better links are from big sites like New York Times, CNN, the big news sites. Any big brand sites have a lot more power with Google when those links come to your site. So it can be
with you, Don, but much better to focus on the actual content, having good content.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't ignore it, because one of their major ranking criteria is still backlinks. But don't forget about internal links as well, where you link between your content, because that tells Google where's that content cloud. How articles are related makes the topic bigger. And so Google see you addressing more subtopics or issues related to the topic. So you get credit for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that's when that site structure really comes into play. So if all your, your articles about lighting for photography are linking to your lighting page, for example, I don't know if that even makes sense, but that will help that lighting page do better. We do that with our clients all the time.
And I just saw in the comments from Doug here, he was saying, I've been writing blogs for Blair Media for several months. I always write from the same POV that the reader wants to learn how to become a makeup artist, editor, copywriter, etc. My rationale is whether the readers are already professionals or not. The tone should inform rather than sell. Am I on the right track? I think we can all agree that yes.
Yeah.
We say yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just, give help and answer questions and don't sell. Don't sell on blog posts. It's the worst.
Yeah, and you will have call to actions on the page that you can utilize to sell.
Sure.
But you first establish your expertness by the quality of the content, how good you answer these questions or how well you educate them.
Yeah, and have a link for your mail. Have a link to sign up for your mailing list on your blog page. Once again, build that list. Build that list because somebody, wow, this is really good. I want to see content like this, and let them sign up right away.
Yeah, and then share that blog on your social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put it up on LinkedIn.
There we go.
All one change, sharing
That's
and
it.
building.
Yeah.
And yes.
Well, it's amazing too because you can create so many different pieces of content out of a blog or out of, so you could easily, so say you made a video, well, you could turn that video into a blog by transcribing that audio and editing it and turn it into a blog, into a podcast. Exactly. And then same thing with a blog. You can take a blog, create a video and create a podcast out of it. You can even create a little slide flip book out of it too and put that out as slides. And so there's so many ways to reuse and repurpose content. So don't think that just because you wrote this one blog, it's one and done. Like there's no such thing anymore as one and done. It's content is, disposable. And I don't say that negatively. It's just how people consume content. And so what you put up on Instagram in 3-5 days max, that is super old news.
Ancient history,
way old
right?
News. Yeah. So, so reusing that and like redoing, like re-putting out the email newsletter with a different subject line, it's okay.
Go ahead.
No, just on add what Chris said. They say content is king, but distribution is queen, and she wears the pants.
I love that.
Yes, 100% yes.
That's great.
That kind of takes us into our next topic that I wanted to talk about, which is communities, forums, and directories, like kind of networking, like all of that stuff. So if you guys could touch on that.
Sarah, if we want to maybe do the we should get to the B&H gift card here in just a few minutes.
I didn't realize what time it was. Time is
See? There we go.
It got away from us.
Oh yeah, because networking and
really
all that,
fun.
forget it. That's a whole other.
People want to know about the money. I got my random number generator.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I got that pulled up.
Some of you may know how we do this, but for those of you who don't, here's how we're going to do this. So basically, you're going to pick a number between 1 and 100, and you're going to put that number into the chat box, not the question and answer box, the chat box right now. So do it now. Pick your number now. Panelists, I'm so sorry. You cannot play our game. You cannot win our $50
I was about to write my number in.
I don't get to play either. Neither does Sarah.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, a B&H gift card. I would love it. I love it. I've spent enough money to B&H in my life. But it's a good gift to get. It's a good gift card to get. But so go ahead, everybody. Drop your number into our chat box. Good. We got those numbers coming in. This is great.
Can you wait just a minute? I'm texting all my friends to sign up.
It cannot be rigged.
Smart man.
We're watching the participants right now.
Just went to 60 participants. Holy
It's crazy too how we get some of the distribution, the random distribution. People will pick the same number and stuff like that, or you'll get a bunch right around the same thing. There's some sort of hive mind that works here.
Yeah.
And side note, you can only put a number in one time. I think
yes.
At the beginning. One entry only. You cannot have two entries.
That's a good point. All right. Well, that seems like it. Here we go. I'm going to randomize this. Oh, hey, pick a number. And it says 8. Can we all see that? Hold on. Glare time. 8.
Yeah.
So
I
the
see
closest
it.
number is 8. We got Michael David here. He's 5 away. Michael David said the same thing. Yeah, Michael David, it looks like, is the winner.
Congratulations,
Cool.
Michael David.
Congrats.
Congrats
Yeah.
to
Congrats.
you.
Sweet
Someone put
B&H
8.
cash.
Awesome. I guess that means we have to wrap this up.
Getting close.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so here's what we do at the end. Each of you gets to go around and say your name again if you'd like to, but your social media, where people can find you if they have questions, if they just want to connect and see your work, go for it. And Don, we'll start with you again.
Okay. People can find me at peakinboundmarketing.com.
Jaco?
Excellent.
We are broadvisionmarketing.com, and welcome to ask us questions.
Perfect. Jobert?
People can find me on LinkedIn, Gilbert Abraham, or send me an email at jabraham@abrahamglobal.com.
Chris?
So I just put in the comments my link tree, so you can find all my links there. But Chris Vaglio, Rocket Growth Agency, and you can go there and check out all my links there because everything is in there. So link to my podcast, YouTube channel, everything. So
Cool.
Check it out.
Excellent. And we do have a couple minutes left. We're not quite done yet, but now that we got that out of the way, we wanted to talk about community a little bit.
Yes.
You know, what this is based around here is Shoot Stop Video. That's our own video community for people to come on there, make a profile. And basically it's like taking word of mouth and digitizing it. That's what we want to do, get reviews and that sort of thing. So how does community work with you guys? How do you engage in any of those systems?
Well, I mean, I've kind of created my own communities on Facebook and WhatsApp. Actually, Gilbert and I have a community we've created together, and I have other communities I'm a part of, but really taking advantage of things like creating a Facebook group, because the big difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page is the fact that Facebook company pages pretty much exist for SEO and branding. But, you know, as what Don was saying with the Instagram business pages, it's set up to generate money for those programs. So to get your posts out, you got to pay money. But if you create a Facebook group, that's a lot different because now you're able to create a community of people based around, you know, whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't have to be just about your company, but say your video production or photography, or you just want to create a creative community, you can create that group and sort of, you know, create this whole network and use that, and everybody can participate. And it's a great way to keep you top of mind and branded. And same thing with WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what we're trying to do. Yeah, same thing, but for video production professionals.
To add on to that, let's say you're a video professional and you work with event planners or wedding planners. You can create a LinkedIn group and only invite event planners or wedding planners into that group and just share content with them and stay in contact with them and, you know, have different Zoom events with them. And that's your community that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
And your community grow when they get value. So make sure that you manage it, make sure that you answer the questions. And if you can't answer the question, go and invite people to come and answer the questions.
Yeah, great. Excellent point. Exactly.
Michael, he won the gift certificate. So now he's got all the ideas here. He says, now once you pay for boosts on a social media, the social media will lower your engagement even more to make you a paying customer. The Facebook has become our dealer apparently. And that's totally how it works. I've heard that before. And you know, that's built into the system to keep you coming back for more, to make sure you get the same amount of interactions that you got the previous time. So yeah, you want to build your own stuff and get people coming there because they want to come there because your content is so good and answers their questions. I mean, I think that's really the takeaway. Find out what questions they have and answer those questions as effectively as possible.
One piece of advice: don't boost posts on Facebook.
I was just gonna say that, Don. I was just gonna say. So, Don, what do you think of Facebook boost?
It's the worst. If you want to run ads. You have so much more control over them that you're going to get much better response. Ads you can pay per click and not by impression. With boosts, they just throw it out there. And we've never seen post boost beat ads. It's always ads dominate. So you're wasting your money with post boosts.
That's an excellent distinction. We don't necessarily realize that. A lot of people, certainly I don't. I didn't for a long time.
Well, they make
Yeah,
they make it very easy to boost posts, and they do that because it's an easy way to get your cash. It's the same as when you do Google ads. They make it very easy for you to let them do everything, and you end up losing
A lot of money.
a lot more money.
Yeah,
So you need to manage it still.
Sorry, I was cutting someone off. Jocko, was that you or?
I just said Facebook retargeting as well.
That's
very
a good
effective,
one
too.
very low expense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, retargeting. Has it changed its name, or is it still the same program it was? I know that there's a little bit of jargon there that's different.
Not aware that they've changed their name.
Okay. Maybe
Some
it's just
people
handled
call
in a
it
different way.
remarketing. It's remarketing, retargeting. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
It's basically showing an ad to somebody who's already been to your website.
Okay.
And have the ads follow them around.
And it's a great combination with pay-per-click, any type of pay-per-click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the biggest things before we sign off here, and I think I can get everybody to agree on this, is I think the biggest thing I could share with everybody who's listening is do not get trapped into the mindset that you're giving everything away. Like, give away information, because that is the thing that will get you hired. That will get you the gigs you want and be where you want to be. Please do not get in the mindset of I'm giving it all away. You're not. You
don't
probably,
worry about your Don't worry about your secret sauce. It's not that secret.
It's not that secret.
Already doing it.
Yeah, everybody else is out there doing it. Give away whatever help you can, and it will come back to you. Definitely, guaranteed.
Absolutely,
I love to say that the bootstrapper is a bootstrapper. You know, they will never use you, so they anyway not your clients. Go and look for the people who are prepared to pay.
That's the other thing. Somebody who's going to steal your idea or whatever, they were never going to pay you in the end. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, I mean, put content out there to show people how to do things, how to make their own videos, how to take better pictures, how to be a better writer. Do all that stuff, because they will try it and they will do it at least once or twice, and they go, "Oh my God, this is too much work. I'm hiring you." But they're going to remember you because you helped them.
You're the expert. It also helps paint you as an expert, showing that you know what you're talking about.
You know, a final word is that it's not a sprint; it's a journey.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. I think we can end it on that if you want to wrap it up for us. This is brought to you by Shoot Stop Video.
Yes, and you can find these videos on YouTube, on our YouTube page. We did have one last quick question from Michael David. Thanks for the clarification. And is that B2B, is B2B the ideal client because they have a bigger cash flow?
I wouldn't say that, because they're a B2C. Yeah, they're a B2C company that has the cash flow. B2B is just business to business.
Yeah, I think you have to decide what your ideal prospect or ideal client looks like and go for that person. Whether it's B2B or B2C, I don't think it makes a difference.
No, I think it's just a matter. I think with B2B, you just get a little bit more into niche, because it depends what kind of business that is. I mean, maybe there could be only 4 companies that produce this thing, but if that's your client, then you kind of know where to focus in on. But, so it can get very nichey.
Now look at your overhead. Look at your cost structure. How much do you want to charge? You can't have a middle market product and try to sell it to SMBs. You've got to make sure what's your market.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys. This was an awesome panel. I mean, time flew. I did not realize we were coming to the end of our video chat.
I feel like we just started.
Thank you for all of the information. I didn't even get through all of my questions. This could have been a 2-hour panel, but thank you guys so much. Justin, thank you for hopping on as well. And thank you for everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Great.
Later,
Thanks, everybody.
guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.